Ireland's EU Commissioner, Michael McGrath, has welcomed the approval by member states of the EU-Mercosur trade deal, saying it opened up unprecedented access to Latin American markets for European farmers as well as for other sectors of the economy. At a critical meeting in Brussels, Ireland was one of 5 countries, including France, Austria, Hungary and Poland, to reject the agreement.
Ahead of this morning's crucial vote, Belgian farmers blocked motorways leading into Brussels with tractors, bonfires and anything that could be dumped on the thoroughfare. Yet member states appeared to have made up their minds, at least a qualified majority of them. At a meeting of EU ambassadors acting on instruction from their governments, 21 out of 27 countries approved the agreement. Ireland was one of 5 countries voting against, alongside France, Poland, Hungary and Austria. Belgium abstained. Determined opposition to Mercosur continues to rip through French, Greek, Polish and German capitals as farmers rail against what they see as unfair competition from Latin American exporters who can produce food more cheaply. The European Commission insists beef and poultry imports will represent only 1.6 and 1.4% of EU consumption, and that EU farm exports in the other direction will increase by 50%.
Overarching goal of all of us is to deliver a win-win agreement that never sells EU businesses short. In the case of Mercosur, we didn't just listen to concerns, we went further than ever before with, I would like to underline, unprecedented, targeted toolbox that you already all know.
The European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen is now expected to travel to Paraguay to sign the agreement. It cannot formally come into force until it's been approved by the European Parliament, a point that Taoiseach made this afternoon.
We can't take for granted, and no officials at any level, including the European Commission, should ever take for granted the decisions that the democratically elected representatives right across the European Union may decide to make in the European Parliament. So I think it's an open question. It looks more likely than not that it will pass the Parliament, but I don't think we can take that for granted. There's still a window of time here.
That vote will take place in the coming months. There will be an intense lobbying campaign in the meantime.
And Tony joins us now from Brussels. So, Tony, what happens next?
Well, Ray, that signing ceremony between Ursula von der Leyen and the other leaders of the Mercosur countries will take place in Paraguay on the 17th of January. That's according to the Argentinian foreign minister this evening. Now, despite those protests that are ongoing by farmers across the European Union, the deal has been hailed by supporting countries like Germany, the Netherlands and Spain. Now, the question is what happens next in the European Parliament. The deal has to be approved by the European Parliament. There is a possibility for it to come into effect provisionally, but I think there could be quite a backlash in the Parliament if that happens. They would obviously prefer for the Parliament to give its views before the deal comes into effect, even provisionally. Now, when it comes to Irish MEPs, we know that 11 out of 14 MEPs are going to vote against Mercosur. Sean Kelly, the Fine Gael MEP, has not really showed his hand yet. Barry Andrews, the Fianna Fáil MEP, has said he will vote in favour of Mercosur. Tonight, Regina Doherty told RTE News she will also vote in favour of the agreement. She took umbrage at remarks by Patrick O'Donovan, the Minister for Culture and Arts, who said that coalition MEPs were bound by the programme for government. She said that's not the case. She was bound by the views of her constituents and the wider community, and she would be voting in favour. And indeed, the MEP's statute, which is the legal document governing how MEPs operate, expressly states that MEPs should vote on their individual and personal basis, and they should not take instruction from other sources. So there's going to be a fairly tough lobbying campaign over the coming weeks, and it certainly is not a done deal yet.
OK, Tony, thank you.